Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today we are continuing on to part 3 of our Woodland Animals series, and we are going to have a hopping good time today because we are going to make a rabbit. To get started, let's briefly go over materials. For paper, I'm using 140-pound watercolor paper, 4x6 inch. And as with the other portraits we've done in this series, we're going to start by laying down a sketch. So you're going to want some kind of pencil. And along with the pencil, you'll want an eraser and a pencil sharpener handy. And for the watercolor portion, I've been using a number 6 round brush. You could go a little smaller if you need to, but I found a number 6 works pretty well for this portrait size. For the watercolor palette, we're going to be using 4 colors today. We'll do a reddish brown, a golden yellow, magenta, and black. And of course, since we're doing watercolor portraits, you're going to want a couple of jars of water. And as always, a paper towel, not only to dry your brush, but we are going to do some color lifting with paper towels, so they're pretty essential for this portrait. And oops, I almost forgot, you'll want an artist's pen with a brush tip in black and an artist's pen in white. I'm using a 1.5 millimeter. And if you forget anything, check the materials list in the description. Now let's get started. So like I said before, let's start with a sketch. So I want you to find the middle of your paper and then put your index finger down the center. And then we're gonna draw kind of a rounded little hill over the top of your index finger. That's gonna be the top of the rabbit's head. For the eyes, we'll draw half circles that start just below each side of our hilltop and point inward toward the center of the face. For those cute chubby bunny cheeks, we'll make kind of rounded off L's. So I'll do one L on the left side and a mirroring L on the right side, just below the eyes. And envisioning an invisible upside down triangle that starts from the bottom of the eyes, where that point is, that's where I draw the nose. I draw a straight line at the top and a semicircle underneath. And for the muzzle, we'll just draw a set of parentheses around the nose. And don't forget the mouth, which is an upside down Y that's connected directly to the nose. And for the fluffy tuft of chest fur, we'll just draw a scraggly V right under those cheeks. And for the shoulders, we'll do a set of parentheses that starts just below the widest part of the cheeks. Moving back up, I'm going to take a moment to close off these eyes. They kind of end up looking sort of lemon-shaped. All right, let's move on to the ears. I always think of a rabbit ear as an elongated A shape, so I'll make one elongated A shape, and then I'll nest a bigger elongated A shape around that for the inside of the ear and then the outside of the ear. And I'll do that on both sides. And I don't know, my 2 rules are try to make them as symmetrical as possible, and bigger is better. So have fun, take up space with those big bunny ears. They're so cute and you can't really go wrong. And that's the sketch. Let's get into some watercolor. Okay, to start, I'm going to take my round brush, load it with water, and then that reddish brown color. And I'm going to go around the outside of the bunny. And we'll leave the eyes, the nose, muzzle, and chest area alone, but all the other lines will go around and trace with this reddish brown color. Now that I've got all my lines traced, I'm going to go ahead and blend that color out toward the center of each section. And to keep this coverage smooth for the base layer, when I'm blending out the color, I am trying to use a stroke that follows the curve of the line I'm blending out. And remember, as I'm filling in this white space, I'm avoiding that chest area, the muzzle, the nose, the eyes, and the insides of the ears. Everything else we're going to fill in with this reddish brown. All right, this base layer looks good. I'll let this dry and then we'll move on to the second layer. For the second layer, we're going to be building color and texture in the reddish brown areas. We'll go section by section, starting with the body, then the head, then the ears. So I'm going to take that reddish brown on my brush and start from the outside and work my way in again, but right away I'm filling in that space with the color I'm not outlining. Once the bottom section is covered and the watercolor is still wet, I'm going to take my paper towel and lightly dab at that section. And I'm going to try to create the lightest areas at the center and have them get progressively darker toward the edges. And you'll see that by lifting the color with the paper towel, you get kind of almost a fluffy texture, and then the slight variation in color just gives your rabbit a little bit of dimension. And here I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process for the head and then the ears. And if while you're lifting the color you happen to get too much texture in a particular area, just add a little more water and that should help soften it. You can blend it with your brush a little bit and you can lift some of the color and just make some minor adjustments until the texture is where you want it and the color grading is where you want it. All right, our reddish brown areas are complete, so we'll let this dry and then move on to the other white areas. Okay, let's do the chest and the muzzle. So for these areas, we're going to be using that golden yellow color. So I've got some water and just a little bit of that golden yellow on my brush. And I'm just going to take a little of it at the top and just blend it down to cover the entire area because we just want it to be a very light, subtle color. We don't want it to be too intense. And I'm doing just a tiny bit of color lifting here as well. And we'll do the same for the muzzle. And also for the muzzle, I'm going to blend a little bit of this golden yellow into the center of the face above the white area just to make the transition look a little more natural, and I'll do some color lifting there too. All right, we're done with that golden yellow color and moving on to magenta for the nose and the ears. Now to ensure that it's just a light wash of magenta and comes across as pink, I'm just diluting it in my pan first. And then you'll see I'm just trying to apply a smooth application on the nose and then the inside of the ears. And we're not doing any color lifting for this part, it's just a smooth, thin layer. And finally, let's paint the eyes. So I've got a little bit of water on my brush and a lot of black because I want this to be pretty opaque. And we're just going to apply a smooth, even layer of black over the entire eye area. All right, the watercolor portion of our portrait is complete, so now we just have to do some outlining and detailing with our pens. I'm going to start with my black brush pen and I'm just going to outline all the way around the outside of the bunny. And then I'm going to go around and do that outline again. And I've done this for all of the animal portraits, and I do this because I really want the animal to pop off of that white background, and it really, really makes it stick out in a striking way, I think. So I highly recommend putting a nice thick border around your animal. And once that's complete, I'm going to go in and trace over any other pencil lines that I have. I don't want any of those showing, and also it's going to bring out those details. So I'm just going to go into the ears, the muzzle, the nose, the mouth, that little chest area, and add some defining ink. And while I'm finishing up this last bit of detailing, I'd just like to say thank you so much for following along today. Go ahead and leave a comment if you've been enjoying the Woodland Animals series, or if you've been able to create any of these at home. I would love to hear about it. And if you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. Your feedback helps me create content that you're going to continue to want to tune into. So I really appreciate it. Or if you're tuning into this channel for the first time, this is the first video you've seen and you like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Okay, the black brush detailing on our rabbit is complete, so now we're going to move on to the very final step. Grab your white pen because we get to make the whiskers, which are my favorite part. So I basically just shoot some lines out from the muzzle, kind of like little sunbeams, and I do 4 or 5 on each side. And once you've added those, your rabbit is complete. Thanks so much for creating with me today. Until next time, take care.